Mama Lank, or calling sweetly Adu, your thread done finish. Come and take. Adunola, not looking up, thank you, Mama Lank. I have enough. Mama Lank, dropping the smile, Lank. She has enough. Lank, quietly, not for long. The stitch that stopped the argument Ameniwa, W to Mni, Book 1. Skill is character, clean hands carry blessing. There is a lane in Ijokodo quarter, Ibadan, that nobody on any government map has ever found, because the man who drew the map did not believe a lane could be that small and still contain that much life. At the head of Adesanya Lane, two tailor shops faced each other across a gutter like two women who had been pretending not to notice each other for 9 years. The shop on the left, with the blue awning, belonged to Mama Folu. 28 years on the lane. She was the kind of seamstress Ibadan women brought their most serious cloth to, the osook from a grandmother's trunk, the Iboran that had to be perfect. Her signature was what the old cloth merchants called a papa, a double-locking chain stitch that bound two pieces of material with the quiet permanence of something that had decided never to come apart. In 28 years, no other tailor in Ibadan had reproduced it. Across the gutter, under the red umbrella, was Mama Lank. 9 years on the lane. Good hands. Clean hem. But always the second name a customer wrote down when Mama Folu's book was full, and Mama Folu's book had only ever been full. Then the dizziness came. Dr. Oletunde said the words come doctors say when the news requires courage, rest. 6 weeks. No machine. Mama Folu looked at her cutting table covered in 3 families' worth of unfinished osook and said only, "My child is coming from school." Adunola arrived on Thursday with 2 bags and the diploma her mother had framed in her mind before the Polytechnic had printed it. She was 24, and quiet in the way certain fabrics are quiet before they are cut, full of potential that only shows when the scissors find it. "Mama," she said, "I have watched you work for 22 years. But your hands are your hands. My hands are not your hands." Mama Folu pressed her daughter's right hand flat on the cutting table. "Adu. The stitch is not in my hands. It is in the patience behind the hands. You have the patience. The machine is just a machine. What sits behind it is what matters. Do not try to make my stitch on the first day. Make your own stitch. A good stitch made honestly is better than a copied one made with fear." At 5:30 the next morning, Adunola was in the shop. The stitch that came out was not her mother's, it was her own. But when she held it to the morning light, it was the stitch of someone who understood what a stitch was for. The first customer, Ayabonju, spread her dark purple hollandaise on the counter and said, "Your mother says your hands are ready. Show me they are ready." 3 days later she ran her thumb across the finished seam, said nothing for 30 seconds, then, "This seam will outlast both of us." By the end of the 3rd week, Adunola had a waiting list, and a woman had driven from Bodija, not to find Mama Folu, but to find the girl with the quiet hands. Across the gutter, Lank was counting. The coal under the cloth Ni to Boje on Kelomia po a ea. Whoever eats another's lesson will go hungry by morning. Lank was not without skill. She had won the inter-parish fashion competition at Holy Cross Cathedral at 19. But she was now 26, with a red umbrella over a concrete slab, and a girl across the gutter had just opened a waiting list. Her jealousy was not the loud kind. It sat in the back of her eyes and made calculations. She wrote 3 things in the margin of an old receipts book. 1. Find out how far her hands have really gone. 2. Make the cloth afraid of her. 3. If the cloth is not afraid, make the customers afraid instead. The prophet and the powder are say, "Otit rin, obu en otit mosai ende are." A lie runs, truth walks, but truth always arrives home. First, a woman arrived in a white starched head tie, carrying a brown bottle she called anointing water from the River Jordan, imported via Oshodi. She warned the quarter that Adunola's machine was threaded with something unnatural. Aya Bonju, returning from market with her stockfish, set down her basket and walked to the front. She opened the bottle. She sniffed it. This is Sprite. The gas has gone out but the smell is still there. She held it to the sky. You can see the green when the light hits it. Sister, you are grieving the spirit, you are grieving my intelligence. Tell whoever sent you that the only spirit on this lane is a girl who wakes up at 5:30 and threads her needle before prayer call. Go well. Two hesitating customers crossed the gutter to Adunola's shop. Second, Lank walked to Dogby Market and paid 3,000 naira for a twist of brown paper labeled thread confusion. The man said a small amount on a seamstress's thread cone would cause garments to come apart within a week, unraveling her reputation with them. That Saturday night, Lank slipped through the unlocked side gate and dusted the powder on Adunola's thread cones. On Monday morning the machine ran clean. The stitch held. What Baba Lekan had sold her was white corn starch mixed with talcum powder, not magical in any direction. 3 more women arrived the following week. Lank opened the receipt book. She wrote one more line, make the garments themselves the accusation. The measuring woman's verdict Olagbeja Tiko Lepin Owo Etunu. The advocate of wickedness cannot share in the comfort it destroys. The Adiemi contract was 12 matching outfits for a 40th anniversary in GRA. The kind of family whose party would be photographed for a magazine. Lank's plan: enter the shop on a Wednesday while Adunola visited Mama Folu, swapped the Adiemi measurement sheet for a copy with 3 measurements altered by 2 centimeters, small enough to miss on paper, catastrophic on the body. She entered at 3:15. Folake was at the overlooker, earphones in. Lank found the sheet, slid in her fake, walked out. On the plank bridge her foot caught unevenly. Her wrapper shifted. She caught the sheet before it hit the water, and found she was holding the Adiemi original. She had pinned to Adunola's wall not the fake, but her own mother's customer order sheet. In her own handwriting, beside 3 names, delay this one, quote high so she goes elsewhere, this one is an enemy. She crossed back. Repinned the Adiemi sheet. Removed the evidence. She was safe. 3 steps out, Aya Bonju came around the corner. Lank. What are you doing coming out of Adu's shop? Aya Bonju read the sheet. She read the notes. She folded it. She gave it back. Go home. And bring your mother. By the next morning, 3 voice notes from Mama Rick. By evening, the story was on the lane. The measuring woman, 81, nearly blind, but not a millimeter's error in 60 years, was brought to check the Adiemi sheet. The original pinholes were not quite aligned. The wrist entry on number 7. It says 31. The tape says 29. 2 centimeters. The shoulder width on number 11. 43 on the sheet. 41 on the tape. The hip entry on number 3, no. Correct. Whoever altered it was interrupted. Or ran out of time. The lane was completely quiet. The clean seam con to ML Nojinju Ni to Baden Ibenu. A forgiving heart travels further than one that feasts on anger. Mama Lank stood before Adunola's shop with 11 women watching. I did not tell her to do it. I want that to be known. Then, slowly, but a house is responsible for what it harbors. I have come to say I am sorry. Adunola walked past Mama Lank and stood in front of Lank. Lank did not look up. Lank, I need you to look at me. Lank raised her head. Her eyes were dry but only barely. I know you are good. Anyone who says your hands are not skilled is lying. What happened was not about skill. I think you know that. She paused. You have a receipt book with a list. I think it asks what is helping me. You don't need the list, Lank. There is no mystery. I wake up early, I learn fast, and I work without fear of what is happening across the gutter. That is all. Tear out the page. And on Saturday, If you want, come across the gutter. I will show you what my mother taught me about the APA stitch. Not because you asked. Because you deserve to know something real. The lane made a sound, not clapping. The sound of people who had just seen the thing they came to see, which turned out to be larger than expected. The measuring woman, still on her stool, folded the tape into her lap and said to no one in particular, in 50 years of measuring, I have found that the longest stitch is always the one that crosses the space between two people. It takes the most patience. But it never comes apart. 7 months later WRATI contit, Ibuken ni GBWN. Good hands and an honest heart, blessing is their companion. 7 months later, Mama Folo walked down to the shop with a cane and her daughter beside her, not holding her arm, because Mama Folo had specifically asked not to be held, and Adunola had learned that there are some dignities you do not argue with. The red umbrella was gone. In its place, a cream canopy over a joint shop where the 2 cutting tables and the overlocker and the waiting list had merged into one enterprise. The sign above the door read, in Adunola's careful lettering, Folo Unravelled, Tailors of Adesanya Lane. EST 1995/2024. The APA stitch was no longer one woman's secret. On Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, Adunola taught it to Lank and 4 young girls of the lane who came after school with pieces of old cloth. Lank had a gift for teaching none of them had expected, including Lank. She corrected without humiliating. She praised precisely, naming the thing that was good and why, so the praise was instruction and the instruction was warmth. Mama Folo stood at the awning and breathed in the shop, fabric and machine oil and the warm iron, and underneath it all the smell of a place that had survived something and was better for it. 7 months ago, she said to her daughter, you told me your hands were not my hands. Yes. You were right. Your hands are not my hands. They have done things mine never did. The stitch I gave you, you gave it to someone else. That is not something I taught you. You found that yourself. Down the lane, the Janom ran a clean line. A sound Mama Folo had listened to for 28 years, which now, somehow, sounded like more than one thing at once. WRATI contit, Ibuken ni GBWN. Good hands and an honest heart, blessing is their companion.